What's up everybody, this is Ven bringing you another mock spotlight where we take apart what you build. For today's episode, we'll be taking a look at Daevel, the devil of Hetand, created and posted to our message boards by Kemzal. Now before we get started, let me remind you of my method of reviewing, which involves a point system that is based on 3 fundamental attributes: the overall appearance of the mock, the build of the mock itself, and the concept and ideas behind the mock's creation. Each quality will mount up to 10 points, leading up to a final score that will be determined at the end of the episode. And please remember that this is all based on my opinion, so let's get this started. Alright, so coming straight out of Dark Souls, this guy looks exactly like what you would expect: a big, mean, bulky, armored, evil-looking dude, you know? I mean, this guy is covered head to toe in this nice, sparkly silver armor, with little hints of red thrown sparingly yet consistently here and there throughout the mock, just to add a little bit of spice. And needless to say, it also has quite a bit of character. I mean, just look at the skull motif it has going on, with all these skulls hanging around on its chest. He's even got a skull for a face, with these little tusks coming out the sides of it. And he's also carrying around this banner that's covered in skulls. And then of course there's this huge freaking axe thing, and this very particular armor layout that I can't help but find so intriguing, from the double chest-plated chest plate to the incredibly complex looking skirt. Like, these are really the features that stick out to me the most, aside from all the skulls everywhere. Speaking of which, I did find it a bit hard at first to see the skulls here on the mock's chest, because they sort of just blended in with everything else. There are so many clashing textures up here in the upper torso that it kind of looks a bit messy. It doesn't help that the skulls are like the same color as the chest armor. But if things were cleaner up here, then, you know, this would be a lot more passable. Otherwise, it's just too busy. It's a bit of a mishmash. And this is a little bit nitpicky, but the gear piece here on the very center of the chest, I'm personally not really feeling that, but hey, I guess it's there to fill an empty space, so whatever works, works. All that aside, the mock's got a really solid build, and it kind of demonstrates some really creative usage of bionicle elements, such as the use of the thorn axe launcher pieces for the skirt, which turned out looking pretty great. Unfortunately, this and the shoulder armor plates seem to sort of hinder the mock's movement, because the mock does appear to be fully articulated. It even has like posable fingers and such, but then it's restricted because you have these pieces covering up the shoulders and the hips. The mock also lacks a built-in play feature or function, but I personally think there's enough here to appreciate that kind of makes up for it, because we still have a well-rounded figure that looks great, has like the huge sword and the huge banner. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem all that necessary to include some kind of function, but it would have been kind of cool, don't get me wrong. And now by this point you might be asking yourself, what exactly are we looking at here? Are we looking at the embodiment of John Connor's nightmares, or are we looking at a boss from Dark Souls, or what? Like, what's happening? Well, it's actually not supposed to be either of those things, or really anything other than an original design. It was built to look like a big, ruthless warrior, bent on striking fear into his enemies through looks alone. He even decorates himself with the corpses of his fallen opponents. I didn't make this stuff up, the builder did. But yeah, with the big, bulky stature and the skull ornamentation and the really shiny skirt, I mean, it seems pretty intimidating to me. I mean, this big guy rocks that skirt better than I could, and I have no doubt that he can dish it as much as he can take it. And let's just hope that, you know, he doesn't have to sit down for any one of his battles, or be put in a position where he has to raise his arms, because then he'd be screwed. And now, with all that said, I feel that I am ready to go ahead and wrap up this video with the final scores. So, in terms of appearance, this mock receives an 8 out of 10. Overall, I found it to be a really cool design. I am really digging the big, bulky, scary looking warrior thing going on here. But I do think that the upper body could use a good bit of cleanup first, because while I would say that a lot of the textures on this mock seem to flow together quite well, this is the only part of the mock where the flow gets kind of broken up a bit. Like, there's just too much going on there. In terms of the build, this mock receives a 9 out of 10. Without a shadow of a doubt, this is probably one of the best Bionicle-based builds I've seen in a while. The engineering is so creative, and the execution, for the most part, I'd say is pretty clean. I would really only have to complain about the restricted articulation, because aside from that, this is a nice, well-rounded build. And in terms of the concept, this mock receives a 9 out of 10. because I do feel that the M.O.C design was pretty well thought out. What we're supposed to have is a big, mean, spooky warrior character, and that's exactly what we get. Yes, there are a few design flaws that kind of hold this M.O.C back a little bit, but I don't think there's really any denying that the builder made his dreams come true. And in terms of, well, what am I saying? We're going on to the final score now. So in terms of the final score, you know, if you do the math, it should be 26 out of 30. See, now that's pretty good. The M.O.C's really good, just needs a little bit of improvement, but, you know, good job regardless, Kemzal. I hope to see more out of you, and I do hope to see something out of you, viewers. Please consider, if you haven't already, posting to our message boards at board.ttvchannel.com, where you are more than welcome to share your own LEGO creations for your own chance to be featured on the M.O.C Spotlight sometime in the future. And if you're confused at all about how that works, we have a video for you on how that works, so please go check it out. I hope to see you there, and if not, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.